Wir haben gleich den nächsten Redner am Start und das ist Esteban, Biologe und Aktivist aus Argentinien, Gründer von EcoLeaks, der Argentinien verlassen musste, fliehen musste, weil er dafür derart viel Ärger gesorgt hat mit Tausenden von Menschen, die ihm gefolgt sind. Er prangert das Fracking an. Fracking ist eine wirklich grauenhafte Methode, Gas aus dem Boden herauszuholen, Erdgas, wo irgendwie mit ungeheurem Druck Hunderte von hochgiftigen Chemikalien in den Boden gejagt werden. Und vor Ort sorgt es dafür, dass das Trinkwasser verschmutzt wird. In Deutschland ist die Technologie verboten. Aber Wintershall, der größte deutsche Ölkonzern, der praktiziert das in Argentinien und in Kanada. Wir bauen dann diese LNG-Terminals, um das Gas zu importieren. Das ist ein absoluter Irrsinn. Und Esteban erzählt euch jetzt noch im Detail, warum.
Thank you, Manon. I'm Esteban from Argentina, and as I think Manon was saying, I had to leave my country for fighting many of the companies from your country that are doing abroad what they are banned from doing at home, and we faced endless persecution and death threats because of that. I am very happy to be here invited to denounce this climate fraud, which is being called a climate election. This is not a climate election, this is a climate fraud. Because there is no climate election when the climate debate is being framed in a Eurocentric way that only applies to the emissions that you have here in Germany, when your country is destroying the rest of the world, and as a leading superpower of Europe, through its multinational companies like Wintershall, like BASF, like Bayer Monsanto, is carrying out climate crimes all over the world, devastating our communities, killing our children with leukemia, where Wintershall has the fracking wells in Vaca Muerta, so that this gas can come back to your country as your money, your public money, is being used to build LNG import terminals. LNG stands for liquefied natural gas, which is being compressed after they extract it in the other side of the world, and Germany is investing millions of euros of public funds with the support of many of these parties, including the Green Party, which voted for this at the Bundesrat 2 years ago. Keep that in mind when you vote this year. So your country is building now 2 LNG terminals in the north with millions of public euros in Stade and in Brunsbüttel. That's why recently we went there with Ende Gelände 2 weeks ago, and we blocked this petrochemical complex that includes not only the LNG terminal that will be built, but major gas users such as Yara, the biggest fertilizer company in Europe, which is also feeding on fracked gas to make fertilizer, and many plastic producers that use the ethane from fracked gas, because also you must know that the booming of fracking all over the world has caused the booming of plastics all over the world. The abundance of cheap ethane that the fracking revolution has brought about is the reason why the plastics industry is also expanding all over the world. Now we have some news from the IPCC. For the first time ever, the IPCC is calling on making methane reductions urgently. Well, guess what is one of the biggest causes of methane increases that the IPCC itself has been warning about for years? It's fracking. Fracking has been shown to be responsible for more than half of all of the increased methane emissions globally over the last 10 years coming from fossil fuels, or more than 1/3 of the total increase when you include biological and other sources. Yet the IPCC doesn't make a single mention to fracking or to the companies that are doing it. And guess whose companies are doing it? Your companies. Wintershall from Germany, Total from France, BP from England, Repsol from Spain, Equinor from Norway, OMV from Austria is one of the biggest manufacturers of plastics from fracked gas, and of course Shell from the Netherlands. So what kind of Paris agreement are these governments and these politicians talking about when they are doing the exact opposite in reality? Europe is merely outsourcing its emissions, and as long as you allow this climate election and this climate debate to be narrowed and to be framed to only talk about the emissions at home and to not mention your corporations, your multinationals, and what they're doing abroad, this can only be called a climate fraud. And I don't want to be too long, but the power is in our hands and the power is on the streets, not in the parliament. We must exercise the power on the streets to block the companies. Wintershall's office is not far from here, just so you know. We need to start tackling the climate criminals that these politicians will not, because they're financed by them. They're put in office by them. They will go to the last extent to extract the last drop of oil and gas, destroying our life and our future and our present as long as they can, as long as we allow them. And the last thing I would like to say is, in the Ende Gelände action, which was part of a global action of Shale Must Fall, a coalition we've built with a lot of grassroots movements from the global south and north, we also did an action on the water. A small group of us, about 20 people, did a secret action and actually blocked the world's busiest canal, which is actually here. In terms of numbers of ships per year, the Nordostsee Canal, also known as the Kiel Canal that connects Brunsbüttel to Kiel, is the busiest in the world. And it's a major route of the fossil fuel industry. About 30% of the entire volume is fossil fuels and fracking related products, and why not block it? So we just got 20 kayaks or so, and we were able to block it for 3 hours. It was a surprise action. Even people in many of the fingers of Ende Gelände didn't know it was coming, and we actually were the only arrest of this action, or the only ones who could actually do some major disruption. And if 20 people could disrupt the busiest canal in the world for 3 hours, imagine what 2,000 people can do. It's about time that we make these industries feel the pain. It's about time that we block them directly, that we stop delegating to politicians to represent us, because they don't represent us, they represent them. So I just want to say, it's time to take to the waters. Europe is a water-bound continent. It's full of canals and rivers and ports. Most of the empires of Europe were built on the water. The British, the Spanish, the Dutch, the Portuguese, they all took place on the water, and the colonial exploitation of our countries in the global south continues to come to Europe on the water, in the form of ships, through these canals. We have a very important book in Latin America called The Open Veins of the Global South of Latin America that I would love to recommend to everyone here. And I would like to paraphrase that book and say that the open veins of the global south continue to flow today in the canals of Europe. And it's time for us as the climate movement to also take to these canals to block them and stop this exploitation and have a chance at winning the climate crisis. Thank you very much.